Hi friends, good morning, and we are back again to continue with our great Himalayas, which is at the northeast border of our country. And we said about Himalaya. The Himalaya consists of three ranges. And in the last class we studied about the first range or the uppermost range, that is the tallest, and it has got three names. We said the Great Himalayas or the Inner Himalayas or Himadri. So it has got three names. The first or the topmost range, the northernmost range, it has got three names. One is the Great Himalayas or the Himadri or the Inner Himalaya. So now let us come to the second leg, that is below the tallest one. Next one is little more low, that is the middle range. So one is the topmost, that is the tallest, then the little more less high, another one is the lowest. So second one has got two names. It is said the Lesser Himalayas. The top one was called the Greater Himalayas. The next one is called the Lesser Himalayas, little less than the first one. So Lesser Himalaya, or another name is Himachal. So Himachal, Hima means snow. So that's why everywhere here the Himadri, here it is Himachal. So all these ranges are always covered with snow. That's why the name Hima comes. So here it has got two names, and comparing to the northernmost range or the Great Himalayas, this is bit less. Let's see what are the differences. So the range lying south to the Himadri forms the most rugged mountain system and is known as Himachal or Lesser Himalaya. So the speciality of this second range is it is the most rugged. Rugged means not level, not smooth, always up and down. So it is the most rugged mountains. So in the top one, in the Greater Himalayas, we see some tall mountains are there, tall peaks are there, but that is not too many. But here, great peaks are not there, but it is always up and down. Small peaks are there. Too many small peaks are there. Therefore, it is not even. It is rugged mountains. Then the ranges are mainly composed of highly compressed and altered rocks. So how this? We already said Himalaya is formed by it's a fold mountains, and they consist of very young fold mountains. And here the second range or the Lesser Himalaya, it is made of highly compressed rocks. Rocks were compressed because of the pressure. We said it was two plates of the earth collided together and was formed like this, folded like this, and Himalaya was formed. So this range is compressed of press of rocks. What kind of rock? Altered rocks. Alter means change. The forms were changed because of the high pressure, because of the collision. The rocks were altered, changed, powdered, and that is what the second range is composed of. Then the altitude varies between 3,700 to 4,500. So in the first range we said the average height is 6,000. So here the highest one is 3,600, 3,700. That is the highest, and the lowest will be 4,500 meters. So all the other peaks will be in between this. So highest is 3,700. Another one is 3,700 is the lowest and the highest one will be 4,500. So it is between 3,700 to 4,500. So all the peaks will mean that is the height of the peaks. And the width is 50 kilometers. The width of this middle range or the lesser Himalaya, it is 50 kilometers. So while Pir Panchal range forms the longest and the most important range. So in this second range, there are so many sub-ranges are there. So one of the most important range in this lesser Himalaya is Pir Panchal range. You can underline. What is the most important range in the lesser Himalaya? That is Pir Panchal range. Then that is the important range and that is the longest and the most important range. Then the Dauladhar and the Mahabharat range are also prominent ones. So two other prominent or important ranges apart from this Pir Panchal range are, one is Dauladhar range, another one is Mahabharat range. So the two ranges are there apart from the first one, the most important one. What is the most important one? Pir Panchal range. Apart from that, there are also some important ones like Dauladhar range or Mahabharat range. So you can underline the most important, three most important ranges in this lesser Himalaya. Then the range consists of famous valley in Himachal Pradesh, consists of valley of Kashmir, the Kangra and Kulu Valley in Himachal Pradesh. So in this range, the lesser Himalaya, we find some important valleys. One is Kashmir Valley. So Kashmir Valley falls under this range. Then as it comes to the northeast, it reaches the Himachal Pradesh. As it comes to the east, it is passing through the Himachal Pradesh, and there you will find two important valleys. What are they? The Kangra Valley and the Kulu Valley. So these are also important valleys, and they are well-known hill stations. So these places are very well-known hill station. What is the importance of hill station? It is a cool climate. The higher the place, the lower will be the temperature. So people go to these places during summer season to spend their vacation and so on. So they are tourist centers. That is a hill station. So many people go to Shimla. So many people go to spend their time in Kashmir during the summer and so on. It is because they are hill stations and the climate is very fine. So they escape from the hot place and go to the cold place in order to spend their annual vacation and so on. So remember, this second range is known as the Lesser Himalaya or the Himachal. And in this range we find the tallest peak is 4,500 meters high and the lowest one is 3,700 meters high, and the width of this range is 50 kilometers. And we find in this some important ranges, and the first and the most important range is Pir Panchal range. Then the second most important one is Dauladhar range, and the third important range is Mahabharat range. These are the three most important ranges that you will find in the Lesser Himalaya. That is the second range or the middle range. Then we also find the beautiful valleys like Kashmir Valley, then the Kulu Valley, the Kangra Valley. All these are famous hill stations. They are also found in this Lesser Himalaya range. So the second range, though they are not very high, but they are important places. There are a lot of people are staying and tourists visit and so on. So that is very important. Now we come to the third range, that is the lowest range or the outer part, towards the out of the last part of the Himalaya. So the outermost range of the Himalayas is called Shivalik. So it has got only one name. So remember, the first range has got three names, the second range has got two names, and the third range has got only one name. It is called Shivalik. So that is the most outer part of the Himalaya, and they extend over a width of 10 to 50 kilometers. So we said the width of the lesser Himalaya is 50 kilometers, but here Shivalik, everywhere it is not same. Some places 10 kilometers long, some places 50 kilometers long. So their width is varying from 10 kilometers to 50 kilometers. And their altitude varies between 900 to 1100 meters. So their height is not very much. Some places it is 900 meters, some places it is 1100 meters. So between 900 to 1100 meters. And these ranges are composed of unconsolidated sediments brought down by rivers from the main Himalayan ranges located farther north. So these ranges, how are they composed of? These ranges, Shivalik, they are composed of sediments. Sediments means the dust and the solid particles that are coming down from top of the mountain. So above them there are two other tall ranges are there. The northernmost, the greater Himalaya is there, below that is lesser Himalaya is there. So from there a lot of rivers are flowing down and they bring down a lot of sediments, and that is how this Shivalik is formed. And these valleys are covered with thick gravel and alluvium. So the valley between the lesser Himalaya and this in the Shivalik, lot of valleys are there, and all these valleys are filled with gravels. What is gravel? Small pebbles. When the river is going down, you will notice river is bringing down lot of stones, small round stones. They are called pebbles. So these rivers or these valleys are filled with lot of gravel, the sand, the pebbles, all these things together, and also the alluvium. So when the river is going down, they are bringing a lot of alluvial soil. We said that this alluvial soil is very good for cultivation. Therefore, the farmers are very happy to have this alluvial soil and so on. So these rivers coming down from Himalaya, they are the one bringing down this alluvial soil. And so this third range, that Shivalik, that is filled with this alluvium or the gravels that are brought down by the rivers. The longitudinal valley lying between lesser Himalaya and the Shivaliks are known as duns. So the longitudinal valley, longitude means the long valley, that is laying between the lesser Himalaya and the Shivalik. So between this second range and the third range, that is the lesser Himalaya and the Shivalik, there is a valley. And mainly this is formed the valley because it is being filled with the rivers, bringing with a lot of gravels, sand and alluvial soil and so on. And they are known as duns. They have got a special name, dun. Dun means it is a location name, but the literal meaning is grey in color. So it is rivers are bringing down a lot of soil which looks grey in color. That's why they are known as duns. So in this place there are so many duns are there. You must have heard about some of the duns, and we may be hearing but we may not be what is the meaning of it. So some of the dun is Dehradun. I am quite sure it's a very famous place, Dehradun. You might have gone there or you might have heard about it. Then Kodli Dun and Parli Dun and so on. So all these are coming between this second and third place. They are beautiful valleys, very long valley, and they are known as duns. So each dun has got its own name, like Dehradun, Kodli Dun, Parli Dun and so on. So they are all found in this place, the valley between the Lesser Himalaya and the Shivali. So sometimes it may be asked for the exams, where do you find the duns? So what will be your answer? The duns are found in the longitudinal valley between the Lesser Himalaya and the Shivalis. That's what you have to explain. Then, besides the longitudinal divisions, the Himalayas have been divided on the basis of regions from west to east. So now the Himalaya has been divided in longitudinal way. One range, second range, third range. So this is how Himalaya has been divided. So the first range is the Greater Himalaya. So it is like R, bending down like this. Then second one is Lesser Himalaya, and the third one is Shivalis. So we are dividing three names. We call it Greater Himalaya or Inner Himalaya or Himadri. Then second range we call it Lesser Himalaya or Himachal. Then third range we call it Shivalis. So apart from these names, the local wise, so people who are living in this area, they call one name. People who are living in this area, they call another name. People who are living in this area, they call the Himalaya by another name. Or people who are living here, they call by another name. By region wise, they call different names. That we know, everywhere we go, the place, the local people may call a place by local name. Same thing happens in the case of Himalaya as well. Now let us see which are some of the local names that are given to Himalaya by the local people. So as we move from west to east, from west to east, this is Kashmir. In the west, in the west there is Kashmir, and as we move to the east, there is Arunachal Pradesh. So as we move, let us see what are the names they call. And these divisions have been remarcated by the river valleys. So how do they create the division? There may be one river flowing down here. So between this river, they will call one name. There may be another river flowing down here. So between these two rivers, people will call the place another name. There may be another river again. So the regions are divided by rivers. Different rivers are flowing down, and therefore people who are living in this place, they call it by one name. So for example, the part of Himalayas lying between Indus and Satluj. So two rivers. One river is Indus, another river is Satluj. So people who are living between Indus and Satluj, what do? They have been traditionally known as Punjab Himalaya, but it is also regionally known as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya from west to east respectively. So people who are living between Indus River and Satluj River, they call it by Punjab Himalaya. So people who are living here, they call it Punjab Himalaya. But they also has got two other names. Some people call it, but it also known regionally as Kashmir and Himachal Himalaya from west to east respectively. So Some of the people living in the east, in the west, they call it Kashmir Himalaya. And people who are living in this part, they call it Himachal Himalaya. So people as a whole, they call it Punjab Himalaya. Then people who are living half of this place in the west, they call it Kashmir Himalaya, because this area is Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. Then this area they call it Himachal Himalaya, because this is the state of Himachal. Then the part of the Himalayas lying between Satluj and Kali river is known as Mount Himalayas. Another river is Kali river. Here the Satluj river is there. Another one is Kali river. So between Satluj river and Kali river, what do they call? They call it Kumon Himalaya. And the Kali and Tista rivers demarcate the Nepal Himalayas. So after the Kali river, another river is there. What is that? The Tista river. So between Kali and Tista river, they call it Nepal Himalayas. And the part lying between Tista and Dihang rivers is known as Assam Himalayas. So after the Kali, Tista river and Dihang river, then that is called Assam Himalaya. Between Tista river and Dihang river, they are called Assam Himalayas. And there are regional names also in these broad categories, and you can find out some regional names of the Himalayas. So the Himalayas are divided into different parts in the local area, local wise, based on the flowing of the river. So which are the major rivers flowing down? First river is Indus, then next one is Satluj, then after Satluj it is Kali river, then after Kali river it is Tista river, then after Tista it is Dihang river. These are the rivers that are dividing Himalaya into many regional parts, and people call them by different names. So first one, people call it Punjab Himalaya, and even that Punjab Himalaya, some area people call it Kashmir Himalaya, and some area people call it what Himalaya? They call it Himachal Himalaya. Then as they move to the next, between the next Satluj and the Kali river, they call it Kumon Himalaya. Then between Tista river and Kali river, they call it Nepal Himalaya. Then Tista and Dihang rivers, they call it Assam Himalaya. These are the local names that are given to them by the people living there. And so you need to remember all these names, the local names of the Himalayas, and they are very important. And the Brahmaputra marks the easternmost boundary for the Himalayas. The Brahmaputra is marking the most eastern part of the Himalaya. You will find the river Brahmaputra. And beyond the Dihang gorge means the deep place. Maybe it is because of the flowing of the river. The deep gorge is made. A deep pit is made. And beyond that Dihang gorge, maybe it is made by Dihang river. Therefore, it is called Dihang gorge. The Himalayas bend sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India. So, after reaching this Dihang gorge, then the Himalaya is bending sharply. So long it was going like this, then it is bending and moving towards the east. And they are known as Purvanchal, or the eastern hills and mountains. So when it is reaching the most eastern part, it is making a sharp turn, and that is called Purvanchal. Or what is the name of Purvanchal? Eastern states. Then these hills, that is the eastern hills or Purvanchal, they are running through the northeastern states and are mostly composed of strong sandstones which are sedimentary rock. So this Purvanchal, they are running through the northeastern states and they are composed of strong sandstones. So you can see some of the people are digging the mountains, are taking out sand, isn't it? Have you seen? So that is part of this sandstone. These mountains are formed with sandstone, therefore a lot of sand is there, so they can use it for building, for construction and so on. So most of the mountains in northeast which are part of this Himalaya, they are formed out of sandstone. Then covered with dense forests, they mostly run as parallel ranges and valleys. So these mountains in the northeast, they are covered with dense forests. Most of the mountains are covered with forests and they are running as parallel ranges. So one mountain to be there, another mountain to be there. Just like Himalayas got 3 ranges, they are also running as parallel. And between different ranges there will be valleys. And the Purvanchal comprises the Pakai hills, the Naga hills, the Manipur hills and the Mizo hills. You can underline that. So this Purvanchal, they are comprised of 4 hills. What are they? Pakai hills that you will find in the Nagaland, Pakai hills or the Naga hills or the Manipur hills and the Mizo hills. So the hills that are found in these northeastern states, they are part of the Himalayas, and most of these mountains are composed of sandstones. So they composed of not very hard soil or hard rock, but sandstones. They can be broken, they can be powdered and used for different purposes and so on. So that is also a natural resource and people make use of it. But in that course of time, the mountains are disappearing slowly. People are cutting and leveling and filling or making houses and so on. So a lot of mountains are disappeared. So we need to preserve the natural beauty as well. So that way we come to the end of this, the first part of physical feature of India, physical division of India, the Himalayas. The next class we will study about the second part, that is the mountain range. So we shall wind up for today, and thank you for listening. Have a nice day.